Good morning, everybody. Thanks for your time on this Tuesday morning. And again, as Chris mentioned, Vaddio is a little bit new to capital sales, so we thank them for adding them to our or adding us to their portfolio. We did a training session at Capital not too long ago, and one of the things that kept coming up was, I've got a lot of customers asking for what you guys are telling me. So I think it's a really good fit. And what we wanted to try to do today is talk about how Vaddio does fit in the real world and try to make it relevant to, questions that you guys might get from your customers as you're going through your daily sales, et cetera. So again, my name is Paul Cords. I'm the Director of Sales for Vaddio here in the US. Beth Peterson is our Product Marketing Manager. Both of us are in the Minnetonka, Minnesota office here at Vaddio headquarters. So if you need to find us, we're here in Minnesota. So I'll kind of get into the presentation. And it's just a couple of quick bullet points for those of you who don't know us, just who we are, kind of where our products fit in terms of categories, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, which is, where are we used? And as Chris said, we'll leave time for Q&A at the end. So I'm looking forward to that. So Vaddio, we were founded on the idea of making cameras and camera systems easy to sell, install, and operate. Now, this is really true. I mean, we started about 16, 17 years ago as a partner with Sony to make extension solutions for their standard definition cameras. That was a little niche business, and since then we've grown considerably. I mean, we're obviously a multi-million-dollar entity and part of Legrand AV, which includes brands such as Chief and Daylight and Middle Atlantic and C2G and Wiremold and all sorts of cool brands that really have an impact in the AV space. So we've come a long way in a short period of time, but the common theme is that everything we do is with the customer in mind, and how do we make products easy to install and support and design. Easy is the same way we do business. Maybe it's the Minnesota in us, but we do a lot of stuff on handshakes, and we'll bend over backwards to make sure that everybody gets what they need. So, yes, we have products, but we're really a service organization as well, and we're here to help. So feel free to give Capital a call with questions that you have on Vaddio. We're happy to help as well, whatever we can do. So real quick, the 4 bullet points of why Vaddio as a brand. Again, our roots are in Pro AV, and we're all about solving problems. In fact, most of our products that are really good products, quite frankly, come from ideas from our customers, whether it's an end user or a dealer or a consultant. Somebody says, what Vaddio should do? What challenge I'm facing in Pro AV, and then we listen and we end up going to build that product. So we get it. We understand your challenges. We are a made in Minnesota company. All of our manufacturing is done here. Design work is here. Shipping is here. We are very unique in that space, especially in the pan tilt zoom camera world, where there's a lot of imports. Factories are half a world away, and they have to guess on product quantities and things. Everything we do is made here in Minnesota. Quality is outstanding in our products. I mean, we are in some of the highest offices and installations in the country. A lot of government work where it is certainly mission critical with military installations, et cetera. So very proud of our quality. And our warranty attests to that. 2 years limited. First year will be advanced replace. So if something does happen to be DOA or go bad in the field in the first year, we'll just send you another one, and away you go. So very comfortable with our story outside of the products, but I know again today we wanted to focus a little bit more on products and application. So in terms of products, there's really 5 buckets of products that Vaddio fits in. Cameras is about 2/3 of our revenue every year. It's derived from basically PTZ and fixed cameras. It's kind of where our business started and what we're known for and what we're extremely good at. So that's about 2/3 of our revenue. The second bucket is camera extensions, and we'll talk more about what that means and how that's used in the real world. Camera extensions is basically just extending power, video, and control from one point to another, whether that's one of our cameras or third-party cameras. We do that for Cisco and Polycom video conferencing cameras. We do it for other third-party cameras, and we certainly do it for our own cameras. Again, that is exactly where we started our business. The third bucket is growing at the most rapid pace. That's USB collaboration. It's a big deal as customers are transitioning from traditional codecs to soft codecs, like, like Zoom and things like that, and even GoToMeeting like we're on today. Controls and switchers, if you have multiple cameras, you're going to want to switch those from time to time, from camera 1 to camera 2, and you want to control where those cameras point, etc. So we do controlling and switching. And then accessories is really just sort of the catch-all for mounting solutions and small cables and things like that. So I wanted to give everybody just a sense of where we do play. Where we don't play is things like security cameras, $70 little webcams for somebody's laptop, that sort of thing. But every other section of the Pro AV market, certainly we cover. I also like to start with some universal truths. So it's very, very rare you get universal truths about cameras, but here you go. Anytime I talk about a product and there's a number involved, that actually refers to the zoom of the camera. So it's just a handy thing to kind of carry around with you, that if you're looking at a RoboShot 12, it's a 12 times zoom camera. If it's a RoboShot 40, guess what? 40 times zoom. So we're pretty clever, I think. Marketing, I think Beth came up with that one long ago. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that is definitely something to know. Cameras are either direct output or have just native built-in extension. I know that's an either or, so you might call me on whether that's a universal truth or not, but we have a wide variety of cameras, and they are either direct output or extension. Vaddio cameras can be what? I don't know. Maroon? Gold? No, they can all be hung upside down. So believe it or not, that comes up all the time. People want to, in a conference room or a classroom or some other specialty application or a house of worship, people want to mount our cameras upside down. Can do. There's 1/4-20 threading on the bottom of each one of our cameras. There's an image flip setting. You can hang them all upside down. All of our USB cameras, again, a fast growing category for us, are driverless. That means that if you're an end user, you don't have to download a bunch of extra software to make our stuff work. Literally, it is out of the box, plug and play. All of our cameras can be managed in a number of different ways, but especially with a web GUI. With any browser, I open up a browser, I point it to the IP address of the web of the camera, and I can control everything about that camera. Certainly, there's also Telnet control, RS-232 control, IR remote control, other ways to control the camera, but this management system that's built in every one of our cameras is super easy for you and customers if they so choose. And finally, we have a ton of good tools on Legrand AV under the Vaddio category. Things like, as you can see here, image size calculator. You want to know what size image you can get from 47.5 feet using one of our particular cameras. That image size calculator will let you do that. The camera selector guide and cabling distance guide, very useful. Here's a quick picture of the camera selector guide. I'm sad that I even put this in. No, I'm just kidding. The only reason I put this in is because there's a lot of information. It's on the website. We're not going through this. You're welcome.
There's a quiz at the end. Here, everyone, focus.
Surprise quiz. Yeah, that's right. What did box number 8 say? All right. So as promised, I wanted to get into the 5 real world questions and answers. This is stuff that your customers are going to ask you about, and you in turn may either provide them an answer or call your sales and design folks at Capital. Maybe may get some help from Vaddio, but this is stuff we hear all the time out in the real world. And here we go. So I have this church. We get that all the time. In fact, when we were doing training at Capital, this is one of the applications. They said, yeah, we get this question all the time. A lot of people out there are doing a great, phenomenal job with audio in houses of worship. And to me, that's an incredible skill and an incredible art to make a big space sound good. And I know probably a lot of you guys on this call are thinking the same thing, that yeah, it can be challenging. So then the church wants to do video, and how do we make that easy? And some people aren't video experts, so all of a sudden they think, man, I'm out of my league, I can't do it, it's broadcast, it's it's something different. Well, we sell, I mean, it's one of our big vertical markets because of how easy Vaddio is to install and design and sell. these churches, they're looking towards video so much these days because they want to stream, they want to record the services, they want to make sure that, you know, shut-ins or other people can get the content, but they're also, you know, tight on budget. It might be a phased approach where they say, well, we want to start with one camera and then eventually get to something a little bit bigger. They've seen other systems and they want to emulate that, but the bottom line is it has to be easy to operate. So these are generally the questions that we address when we get the, so I have this church conversation going with a dealer. So what I wanted to do is in each of these examples kind of take you through the product that actually usually fits in these scenarios, and then Beth is going to cover an actual case study, a real life example of who actually did this out there in the real world. So we talked about cameras and extension. In every one of these churches, they want to put a camera somewhere out in the sanctuary, and then they want to run that video feed back to some control booth somewhere, whether that's in the back of the church or whether it's you know, in a closet somewhere off to the side. And typically, they don't want to have an electrician come in and put an outlet everywhere they want a camera. So with our OneLink, we call it OneLink because there's one cable. With our OneLink extension systems, you can control, or you can power a camera from up to 328 feet or 100 meters away over a single category cable. So, and that one category cable is doing power, video back from the camera to the breakout box, and bidirectional control, again, over a single category cable. Super easy, anybody can install it. You're not waiting for an electrician. It's super cost effective, and it does all of these things, as I mentioned, power, video, and control over a single category cable. And your outputs can be various. They can be HDMI, they can be USB, they can be HD SDI. There's all sorts of different video outputs at this at the OneLink side. So almost invariably, we're going to have that as our camera. You can also have a direct output camera. You can have just a simple Vaddio HDMI camera that maybe sits in the back of the church and drops right down the HDMI cable right down to a switcher, for example. You can do that as well, but we see this extension all the time in houses of worship. If you're going to have multiple cameras, you're probably going to want to switch from camera 1 to camera 2 at some point, maybe camera 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. The AV Bridge MatrixMix is really the heart of a lot of these types of designs. Yes, it's a black box, but what can you do with it? Well, it's a seamless video switcher. So you can plug in one camera, you can plug in multiple cameras, and it's your seamless video switcher. You can also plug in a laptop. So you want to have a the scripture of the day up, all sorts of different things. You can do any sort of computer input you want. You can do graphics. So if you want to have graphics overlaid, or a little bug, or the name of the pastor that's speaking that day, what have you, certainly that could go into this as well. You can manage it remotely, as you can with our cameras. You can manage this device remotely. You can add audio. So every church we're dealing with, they typically have some sort of audio and they want to reuse that. So the MatrixMix allows you to basically give us a line level output from the DSP, and we'll send you line level audio to be amplified through that. And then also, we're using that audio system that's already existing in the church for things like, you know, the video stream or a USB connection, you know, to do a Skype call if you wanted to bring in a guest pastor or something like that. So you can tie into the existing audio system very, very easily. You can also do things like external control and triggers. And a trigger is simply something that says, oh, somebody is over here, I want to trigger an automatic camera preset. So we don't see this as much in churches with triggers, but you know, you could have an IR sensor, and if somebody trips the IR sensor, it means somebody's at a location, and that could always mean that they go to a default camera location. So you can automate some of this stuff as well. And then again, this box will stream, so directly to a third-party, you know, content delivery network for streaming, for archiving. And it'll simultaneously do a USB connection, again, if you wanted to use Skype or something like that in your church. So the MatrixMix, there's a lot going on there, but at the end of the day, it's a seamless video switcher, it's an audio processor, and it's got some cool bells and whistles for graphics, triggers, and support. So the cameras can all go into there. And then oftentimes you will want to control with a joystick those cameras as people are walking back and forth in front of the church or whatever they're doing. So we also have a very simple to use, easy to operate joystick. Beth is going to talk about that as well, that you can put in the bundle. This is a very, very common solution. And gosh, we even made it easier if you wanted to not even use the joystick controller, not use the crazy black box, but just use the big touchscreen. We have a product called a TeleTouch that gives you everything you need on a simple touch activated screen. So you could summon up camera presets, you can switch cameras, you can do all sorts of stuff with the touch of a button. Literally, it is the easiest system to operate, and that's so important in churches where you have volunteers. You don't have guys that have been doing broadcasts for 30 years. Sometimes you're fortunate enough, but oftentimes it's a volunteer. They just want to switch a few cameras, make sure they get to the right presets, and away they go. So if you put it all together, and this is the most complex slide I have in this entire presentation, but it really speaks to a pretty tight solution. You've got cameras with extension on the left. Those are dumping into the MatrixMix. On the right, we're controlling the MatrixMix and the cameras with the joystick controller. And then you've got additional connectivity for if you want to stream and control and things like that. That can be used in house of worship. It can also be used in other applications too. We see the same design all the time. Simulation labs, council chambers, corporate training rooms, so our seamless video switcher, multiple cameras, and it's got to be easy to operate, which we check that box as well. So Beth has a couple of these that she wants to talk about too, where people actually use this stuff and it works.
It's true. We do sell products. They use it. So this is exactly what that complex diagram was before. Willow Hills Baptist Church. We went down there last year, I think, and they're using the AV Bridge MatrixMix. They're using the camera controller, and they're using 4 RoboTrack PTZ cameras. So they're using the built-in extension just so they didn't have to have an electrician come out and drop items there. And then the quote we have in our case study is that cost-wise, Vaddio is very competitive, and Vaddio is one of the best customer service companies. And so that meant a lot to us. Again, we're local here in Minnesota, and we always pick up the phone. You don't have to go through this big long phone tree to get any support. But we have a great applications engineering team and tech support team that can also help in designing systems. So that is a great one. And then I was just out in Apple Valley last week or the week before at Heritage Lutheran Church, and they said they had an audio system and they just wanted to get into streaming to YouTube. And so they bought this cheap camera off of, online, and they really were not happy with that system, and they weren't happy with the feed that was going out. And so they ended up going with a UHD camera, a 4K camera, the RoboShot 40, and just having one camera in this setup. So there's no switching. All they're doing is having the camera go into that OneLink Bridge, which is the built-in extension system, and they're using that camera controller. And it's so funny when I went to do an interview, because we have a video that's going to be posted probably next week. They say it's so easy. We have a 12-year-old operating the system on Sundays. They have presets that are, perfectly labeled in that touch screen that just says, front, back, side, choir, and then it all is just streaming online. So they are using YouTube to stream their services on Sunday, and then also to archive them. So super easy and really cost efficient. So the one thing is, yes, the RoboShot 40 is our top of the line camera. It's one of the most expensive cameras, but you get what you pay for. And if you are just going to do one camera, make sure it's a great camera to show the best service.
Perfect. Thank you, Beth. That's my favorite quote, by the way. I always say that. Yeah, my kid could operate this, and we have people that actually do that. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
The next few here, so we get this question all the time. So I'm working with the city council chamber, and they want to blah, blah, blah. I'm working with the city. My city wants to upgrade. So we get that all the time, and we do quite a bit of business in government. So whether it's a municipality or some other similar facility. So many cities are still in that SD world, with their local public access television, but they want to do the same thing that houses of worship and corporations do. They want to record, they want to stream, etc., and they're looking for updates. Again, easy is a theme. They got it. These systems have to be easy to operate because the mayor wants to look good. So and that we have as well. So what's our answer to my city wants to upgrade? Deja vu. MatrixMix again. Who saw this one coming? I did, because I put the slides together. No, honestly, you know, it's funny. We just went through that that house of worship design process, and we see that same design oftentimes in city council chambers. So you think about it, you got multiple cameras, you've got the need to switch, you've got the need to control, you've got the need to stream and connect to USB and other sources. It's a nice little bundle. And for our dealer community, yeah, every installation, every situation is different, but sometimes the core design can be the same. So if sometimes the city council chamber has existing gear, so they've got some cameras maybe that are old legacy cameras, they've got an audio system, and they're simply saying, look, we want to start streaming using the stuff we got, or we want to, you know, be able to do some video conferences with the stuff we got. So here's the other design that we see very often in city council chambers. It's a product called our AV Bridge Mini. The AV Bridge basically bridges the gap between traditional AV systems and your streaming and USB world. The job of the AV Bridge product is really simple. It takes in video and audio and basically gives you or spits out a USB 3.0 stream and an IP stream. And that stream, you know, RTMP is basically, like Beth was talking about YouTube. That's what YouTube wants to see. They want to see an RTMP stream, and that's what we provide. It's a really simple box, and it leverages all these existing designs. So if you have a corporation that's got existing cameras and audio stuff, and they're saying, man, we want to use this for Skype or for Zoom, we can do it. Same thing with the city council chambers. And the setup, man, this is a really hard slide. You plug in a camera, or it could be multiple cameras. It could be the output of a video switcher, for example. You give us your audio again. We've seen this one before in the House of Worship example. And guess what? We give you that stream. You do whatever you want with it. So it is a cool way to leverage existing AV gear when they want to start streaming content. Another really common one we get, I'm working with the school. It could be higher ed, it could be specialty schools, it could be, you know, K-12, et cetera. They want to do the same thing. They want to record and stream lectures. Biggest thing with schools we get is that teachers just want to teach. They don't want to come in and do 15 minutes of setting up of the technology. And in a university, for example, I just moved my son into the University of Minnesota yesterday. There's old buildings, and you guys are going to face some installation challenges in those old buildings. So how do we make that easy? And again, we have answers for these challenges. Number one, this might look familiar. We've got a camera and an extension solution. This looks like something we've done before, but this is a product that we have that's a little different, called the OneLink Bridge. We see this all the time in lecture capture in single camera applications where they want to stream. The OneLink Bridge, the OneLink part of it allows you to do power, video, and control over a single category cable to the camera, just like we've talked about before. The bridging part of the OneLink Bridge allows you to add audio from the room, and whether that's from a DSP or whether that's from just a single lavalier mic, whatever you want to use for audio, the AV or the OneLink Bridge will combine that audio and video into that stream that you're looking for, or that USB signal if you want to use it with Zoom, etc. So what that looks like is, again, audio in and out. You give us that audio, and we will give you back from this box USB 3 and a network stream. Okay, it's also got video pass-throughs. Now, one of the biggest challenges that integrators have when it comes to USB stuff is extending USB. Extending USB 3.0 is a challenge because it's just a short run. However, if you think about this design, let's say you want the teacher to have a laptop that they plug in every day to this system in order to, you know, do a video call, for example. This box can sit in the podium. This box can sit in a little desktop. The OneLink Bridge can sit anywhere, and you're extending audio to it, and you're extending the camera from it. So you've done away with any sort of USB 3.0 distance limitations by putting this box where the person wants to plug in USB 3.0. So whether it's mounted under a table, again, in a podium, lectern, whatever, it is a really cool hack to extend 3.0. This is something I'll mention as well. This is a demo that we can do live from Vaddio anytime you guys want over a video call. But sometimes instructors, they don't want to switch cameras. They just want to walk around and have the camera follow them. And we have that solution. It's called the RoboTrack. Essentially, all the instructor does is they put on the lanyard, they hit the little button in the middle. It lights up nice and blue, and they start walking around, and the camera tracks them wherever they go. So it's a very cool solution. A lot of people have need for this, and they want to see it live and in action. And we are more than happy to show off that solution anytime you guys want to see it or show it off to one of your customers. But very simple, very accurate. It's a cool option for camera tracking. We did a project, Beth.
Yes, so this is a quick example of the Yavapai Nursing School out in Arizona, and so they had a need for having remote students. They were in multiple campuses, and this way they could join via Zoom web conferencing, and they could use the ultra high def cameras in the ceiling and those recessed mounts, and then control it all through a Crestron system, and it worked out great. So no extra wiring, no video conference codecs. It was very simple to install. So pretty much in any teaching school, this has been a really popular. And again, we have videos and written case studies on that. And then the next one is
later.
I know we're running out of time, Paul.
I know. I'll just buzz through this real quick. So big one is conferencing. I said that's a huge growing part for us. The soft client push is hot and heavy. So we've got a couple products that fit that niche. ConferenceShot AV is one. It's basically a camera. It's got an optional built-in speaker that you can use or decide not to use. And the cool thing about it is either the table mics or the ceiling mics that Vaddio makes with a single category cable will plug into the back of the ConferenceShot AV in these little RJ45 ports, these easy mic ports on the back of the camera. And that's all you need. So the customer can, at that point in time, plug in their microphones. You can install the microphones, plug them in, connect via USB 3 to the ConferenceShot AV, open up your favorite soft client, Zoom or what have you, and away you go. Really straightforward, and it's really good for a mid-size room, and that's the ConferenceShot AV. I will also mention that we do have various ways to extend that USB 3.0 connection with some active cables, etc. That always comes up, and we've got some solutions to beat those challenges. An example of that.
Yeah, Tightrope Media out in Minneapolis is using several ConferenceShot AVs and ConferenceShot FX cameras in their offices in downtown Minneapolis. And they had a problem where without video and without high quality audio on the table and through ceiling mics, their remote workers were having a really hard time understanding the folks in the room. And so with the excellent pickup quality of the three microphone element units, it was much easier for those remote folks to hear, and they really felt they were part of the conversation, adding video into those all staff meetings.
And if the ConferenceShot AV isn't quite right, if you've got a bit smaller room, like a huddle room, for example, we do have a new product that's just started shipping. It's called our HuddleSHOT. As you can see in the picture, it would mount beneath or could mount above a display in a simple huddle space. The HuddleSHOT is cool because it is that all-in-one form factor that customers are looking for because of the simplicity and the way it installs. It's got a couple of built-in microphones. It's got a couple of built-in speakers. It's some simple connectivity, and it's very plug and play like all of our USB products. Again, you're doing a Skype call, you're doing a Zoom call, plug into the HuddleSHOT, it'll automatically recognize the HuddleSHOT, and away you go. Like I said, it is shipping now. We can get some demos to people if they need to take a look at this, but it's a great solution for those little bit smaller spaces. Invariably, small spaces, customers will sometimes try to shoehorn something that's built for a small space into a larger space. The cool thing about the HuddleSHOT is that we have the ability to extend the microphone coverage of the HuddleSHOT by plugging into the back of the HuddleSHOT either one of our tabletop microphones or one of our ceiling mics. So if there's a customer that wants to use this in a little bit larger room, they certainly can, and the person furthest away from the HuddleSHOT will still be picked up with our either table or ceiling mic as an option. So really cool install. People, especially in the corporate world, are looking for this sort of thing all the time right now. And the last one is this sort of catch-all. So I got this weird request from a customer, and you know it's camera centric, you know that they want to do something, but it's always like, they want to do a soccer field, they want to do an aquatic center, they want to do a rental and staging application for a banquet hall, they want to do some sort of weird learning thing. And you know, I tell you what, Vaddio has seen, I think, one of everything. I'm shocked to know how many culinary kitchens there are in the world. There are a
There's a
ton
lot.
of them. There's a lot, and we play really nicely in all those spaces. So when you get those requests, let us know, let the folks at Capital know. We'll put together a good solution, and chances are, again, we've done it before. So there's just a couple I'll have Beth highlight, and then we'll jump into Q&A from the audience.
Yeah, we were at the Oshkosh Air Show last month in July, and it was really neat. This is for rental and staging, and so they have 4 RoboShot 20 UHD cameras and a camera controller. And the nice thing about this is that they didn't have to have so many operators. Yes, they still had the standard camera operators, but this allowed them to have an audience shot and to have an interview shot, and so they could just pick it up and set it go, because those cameras are really light, not heavy, easy to transport. There are a lot of fun things that they use at the Oshkosh Air Show. We've been longtime partners with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So when they're doing interviews, so think of an auditorium space, many RoboShots in there, interviewing recent inductees for archiving and for streaming. And then, you know, children's hospitals. So I think on the next slide, we have a couple other examples. The Children's Hospital and the Aquatic Center, and then he skipped over the culinary school down in Shakopee, which is, again, a local one, and that's fun. They were having a really hard time with a mirror on top of the island where the teacher does the instruction, and so now they can really show how to dice an onion the proper way, and then have image magnification on multiple screens throughout the room. So that little dot cam is quite the winner there. So again, lots of interesting applications, and we love to talk to you about those.
And Beth and team has done a great job of highlighting all these and putting together information on the website, Legrand AV under Vaddio. So all this stuff lives out there, and use it to help sell to your customers, because that's what it's there for. So with that, I did skip a little bit because I wanted to make sure that we got to Q&A, and I looked down and realized that we had gone about 30 minutes instead of 20 minutes. So I am willing to yield the floor back to Mr. Scanlon and the rest of the group if there are questions. And thanks again for everybody's time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Beth. Do you guys have any questions? If you do, please post them in the questions box. And I know how it goes. As soon as we get off the webinar, either throughout the day, questions may roll in throughout, or sometime throughout the week. You know, somebody's going to mention something. If that does happen, feel free to reach out to myself at Capital, any of your account managers at Capital Sales, or reach out to Vaddio. We're all here to help you guys out and answer all your guys' questions. Or if you just want to chat about a project, we love hearing what's going on. So, so as we're waiting for questions to come in, again, Beth, Paul, what are some of the best ways if they want to get more info right from Vaddio? I mean, other than calling Capital, you know, because we're definitely here to help them out as well.
Yeah, so a couple of things. You know, we have set up our business to support, even if, you know, myself or Beth or somebody's out of town, or their sales guys out of town, we have a tech support group. So for anybody that's actually doing work out in the field, for example, say you're doing a Vaddio install and you get to a point and you're stuck. Maybe it's I can't access the GUI. Some sales guy told me there was a GUI that was really great. I can't get to it. Simply call our tech support group from, you know, anytime from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we will answer the phone and we will actually walk you through that. And any other questions you have too. Maybe you're saying, hey, I'm thinking about this camera. Does it actually do this or not? Because there's some choices. I'm a little confused. If it's something like that, certainly just ask for tech support, and then they'll help you out. If it's larger projects and you want design, or you want design review, and you've done the drawing and you just want another set of eyes on it from the factory, we do that all the time for people. So really happy to help in whether it's the pre-sales, getting an order shipped out, or post-sales or on-site installation. There's tons of ways to get good information from Vaddio.
Perfect. Well, we do have a few questions that started rolling in. I want to thank you guys. And the first one, output protocols for the video output protocols for cameras. This states, you say that the cameras have a direct out for video and something. What was the other ones? Can you go over some of the different options for video outputs?
I do. So there's a couple different categories of cameras that we have. One with just direct output. So if you just need a camera that has a USB output, or if you just need a camera that just has an HDMI output, nothing fancy, no extension, nothing crazy, just HDMI, we have those. On the back of the cameras, you'll see the HDMI output. It looks familiar. You plug in and away you go. So that's cool. We also have extensions available, and again, what we use for extension at this point is HD-base-T. You know, our deployment of HD-base-T is standard. It's according to the standard. So whether you're using one of our little black boxes at the rack end, or you want to use one of our cameras to go HD-base-T directly into, say, a Crestron system or something like that, that'll work just fine. The only thing on the Crestron side is that you have to make sure that you know, that power matches up, but we have PoE injectors too to mitigate that. So that's not a big deal. But HD-base-T is kind of how we're doing that right now. We have some older legacy ways of extending power, video, and control that require multiple category cables. We still sell some of those from time to time, but the vast majority of what we do is either, again, the direct output camera, HDMI, HDSDI, USB, or one of our extension solutions.
Great. The next question is, with a small conference room where they don't want any video, do you guys have like an AV bridge that has just basic pod inputs for a phone audio, you know, for making calls?
We do not. Yeah, on my sales guy wish list with product management teams, once in a while I say, you know what, it would be great to have a little RJ11, little POTS phone add-in in some of our products. We don't have that, unfortunately. So great question. Yep.
Yeah, and for you guys out there listening, if you run into that, you know, we give Capital Sales a call. We do have solutions for those type of applications where you don't need the video, you're not using a soft codec. You just want to be able to tie in a analog phone or a VoIP phone into your audio in your conference room. You know, feel free to reach out to Capital. We can definitely help you with that as well. So, and be able to design it so as they add and want video, we can tie in the Vaddio going forward. So,
yeah, great point, Chris.
The next question. The conference call camera had an audio connection. Can you go over some of the features of that? Is it audio in, audio out? What are some of the audio features in these cameras or bridges?
Yep. So on the ConferenceShot AV, for example, specifically, which I think the question was regarding, the audio is really more of an audio out because what you're doing is you're taking that far end audio and you're amplifying it within the local room or the near end in one of a couple of different ways. You can use our speaker as an option. You know, again, the same size of the base of the ConferenceShot AV, and there's a mounting solution for that. Or you can take that, use it as you can take a line level output and go to your whatever amplification system you've got within that room. So if you've got a little amp and speakers already and you just want to hook up with that, you can certainly do that as well. So that's the option on the ConferenceShot AV. On some of our more advanced...
sorry, we also sell that bundle with an HDMI audio inserter. So the ConferenceShot AV comes with a bundle where you can use the sound bars on your display if you didn't want to use the Vaddio speaker too.
Yes, that is the other option. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Good get. And then the other thing I was going to say is that our more complex audio solutions and stuff, we actually have the ability to just go in and out to DSPs, for example, and there's a full audio matrix in the GUI, in the web GUI for those products that allow you to route the audio appropriately. So let's say you don't want it to go to certain outputs, or you have to have priority in other parts of the audio matrix, you can assign those accordingly. going over that is it's not super difficult to do. It's if you guys are familiar with programming DSPs and things, it's a lot of check boxes and just making sure that audio goes where you want it. So it's very straightforward, but there's a lot more options at that point.
Perfect. And that kind of rolls into the next one with external matrices, DSPs, web-based soft codec. The question is, will the HuddleSHOT play well and easy with an existing Extron matrix switcher with the built-in DSP and the web-based soft codec conferencing?
So I would want to look at the design intent of that because I see the HuddleSHOT personally as more of a standalone in conference rooms without much DSP, the need for DSPs, because it's going to go in a lot smaller rooms. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't do that, but I would want to look at that application and understand, what they're trying to accomplish, the size of the room, because there might be other cameras that would work better in those environments. So while I don't want to make a blanket statement about that particular product, I can make a blanket statement that says, yeah, in general, our cameras work well under all of those circumstances. It just may not be the HuddleSHOT in and of itself. There's not a lot of integration to be done with the HuddleSHOT, and in fact, but in fact, I mean, the scenario that you described, and we've certainly put RoboShot cameras and others in those exact environments to great success. And I hope that answered. If not, ask me a follow-up on that one if you've got one, because I know that was a little bit maybe more general than you were looking for, but I sometimes hate to make blanket statements if I can't back it up.
Well, and this is a great example of, as those questions come up in the field, where it's integrating with other products or existing systems, feel free to reach out again, to myself at Capital or Vaddio. We will make sure that what you're integrating it with, we're going to get you the correct products to work. Yeah,
so that's a big percentage of our calls too, Chris. Even at the tech support desk, it's looking at integrated rooms and making sure that once the installer gets to site that they got everything they need. We do that all the time, and you're right. I mean, in these bigger rooms, it can get complex, but that's what we're here for.
Great to know. The next question. Video, what resolutions are you sending over the OneLink camera? So is it, for 422, 4K, the OneLink kits? What does that run?
The OneLink, it's spitting out 1080p 60. So it'll accept. I mean, you can hook it up to our 4K cameras, but it's going to go 1080p 60. And in the specs in terms of color spacing, there's a couple different variances depending on which camera you're picking. So that's more of a tech spec exercise.
Awesome. And if you guys do need to go get a 4K signal, there are definitely other options as well. Doing a separate control cable and sending that instead of using the OneLink option. There are 4K bail-ins and ways that we could get that signal back if you needed the 4K versus the 1080. So again, that's one great thing with Vaddio. Wide range of camera options in maybe the RoboShot 12. There's a bunch of different configurations if you want HD-based T, if you want OneLink, if you want standard HDMI, or different options for video outputs. So the next question is, for the Vaddio video switcher, it appears that there's two monitor outputs. Are they independent, meaning you can set up the monitors, one to show the video feed, the other one to show, maybe other cameras or something else? What are those for?
Yep. So in fact, I can even go back if you want to take a. I don't know if I want to go back here. So one of the display outputs is actually for the multi-view monitor. Sorry if this is making it. Look away if this is making anybody. Just want to get to one of these. There we go. So if you look, there's three actually. So if you look at the lower right, the far right is the multi-view. So that's if you use our teletouch monitor. that will give you the sort of the pre-configured multi-view look that we have that shows each camera's view. It'll pop up with all the presets for that camera once you select that camera, and it's got a program and preview output all contained within that multi-view look. So that's the multi-view. That's the only thing that's going to be used for. And then program and preview. It's kind of straightforward. So the preview is always going to be what's on air, and the program is basically what your, or excuse me, preview is preview, program is on air. I got ahead of myself because you can also use this in a dual bus setting. So one of those outputs would represent a set of cameras, and the other would represent the other. But I mean, primarily it's just program, preview, and multi-view.
We have seen some installations where in higher education they'll put a MatrixMix and it will actually be running 2 rooms simultaneously. So like Paul was saying, with the separate buses, you'd have one row for Hall A and one row for Hall B, and they can be run kind of separately, which is cool.
Yep, I've seen it occasionally, yeah, with combined divide rooms too, but those are ones I'd want to sit down with the designer on those and make sure we walk through. Yeah, great point, Beth.
Well, thanks, guys. There's just some great questions. We're going to wait a little longer just to see if there's any other questions that roll in. Obviously,
Sure,
there's
yep.
a lot of info here, a lot of different camera features, a lot of different cameras in general, as well as codecs for getting video back and forth, and matrices. So Vaddio, it's not just a camera company. I mean, they've got the full solution here for matrices, switchers, controls, everything basically to make that nice VTC system, from the small HuddleSHOT all the way up to the large. So we're really excited at Capital to have this line.
And I do want to give a little call out to the Vaddio YouTube channel. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about any of the products that we've gone over today, so say the RoboShot 40 or the AV Bridge Mini, a OneLink Bridge, the HuddleSHOT, our ceiling mics, table mics, we do have technical trainings on our YouTube channel that run from about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And it's just a technical overview going through the specs, where it's used, some application diagrams for each of those products. So those have been really popular. So if you want to take a deeper dive, I encourage folks to just hang out on our YouTube page for a little bit and learn some more.
Great, thanks for that info.
Thank you.
Well, guys, if you guys don't have any more questions, like I said earlier, if they pop up after the webinar, feel free to reach out to Capital. We love hearing from you. We're going to do our best to answer all your questions, talk about designs, talk about applications, and or also feel free to reach out to Vaddio. We're all here to help, and the nice thing is we're all located right in the Minneapolis area, so it's very easy to get together. And Paul, I know you mentioned a little earlier, what does Vaddio offer for if dealers have clients that are interested in seeing how this works?
Oh, sure.
What are their options?
Yeah, if they so a couple options. If they happen to be local, we welcome folks to come and take a look at the rooms we've got set up here at Vaddio. We've got a full production suite that I think, Chris, you've been in a few times. We've got our we've got our RoboTrack tracking system set up. We've got all of our HuddleSHOT set up. So pretty much anything that you'd want to see, we can accommodate that tour here at Vaddio at corporate. And if you've got an end user who really wants to see how this stuff is made, I mean, we can show them that too. That's fine. We do a lot of video demonstrations as well. So if your customer happens to be in Kansas City and they want to dial into one of our rooms and see stuff in action, we can accommodate that. And we also have a demo program too. So if you say, you know what, yeah, I'm dealing with this church and they want to see one of these cameras in action in their sanctuary to make sure that it's the shot that they're looking for, that the zoom is right, and yeah, I know the specs say it's going to be, but they want to see it in action. We can work with the folks at Capital or you guys directly to make that happen too. So whatever we can do to help. I think one of my earlier slides said the art of easy. If it makes it easier for you guys to demo something, to sell it, yep, that's what we'll do. So happy to help any way we can.
Great. And if any of you guys want to take advantage of that, just reach out to your local account manager at Capital, and we can work with Paul or the guys at Vaddio and get that time set up for you. So I do ask, it would be great if you guys call Capital, your account manager, because we like to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing. And I already have somebody that popped up. They say they want to see the Matrix Bridge, and just reach out to us and we'll get that set up for you. So guys, if you guys don't have any more questions, Paul, Beth, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to go over these products. And, you know, we look forward to working more with Vaddio.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris, and thanks everybody for your time.
Thank you guys, and have a great week. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next webinar.